What's going on, my people? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. I'm GB. I got Brian and Coop with me as always. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
Another week.
Another week. Brian on location out in Florida. So travel safe home, man. Hope y'all have a good time out there. Shout out to the family. Me and Coop on the west as usual. I'm out. Oh man, I'm in Sac. This is the wrong skyline. So I'm false advertising right now. But oh well. I could change it, I guess, but we'll do it for my own situations, you feel me? But boom, so switch up from San Jose to Sac real quick. So yeah, we're a quick show, get in and get out, you know what I mean? Just want to let Brian do his thing over there. He's a few hours ahead of us. So we got the NFL last week, what happened in all the games. I got a pretty big smile. I forgot we played so long ago and we haven't talked about the game my team was in. So I forgot I get to talk about this upcoming week in the NFL. And then we had the PNC Championship for golf where you got the pro golfers and their families, which was pretty awesome. Talk a little bit about that, NHL, and then do our last couple segments and we'll be up out of here. So starting with last week, I guess, you might as well start with the Thursday night game. That's the first game of the week.
So GB, you probably forgot, but we did our last podcast on Thursday, I believe. We talked about it, but I want you to talk about it again.
Did we? I don't remember. Did we?
Oh wait, no. That's right. You guys. Yeah, we did
Yeah.
Wednesday because you guys were at the game. My bad. You were at the Vikings. That's right.
Vikings.
Game.
Yeah. I was like, oh snap. I was good enough to forget. But so Thursday.
That's right.
Y'all already know how I felt about the team we played, the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles, and I've never been impressed. I mean, obviously, it's rival, so I'm not impressed by any team in the division, right? Naturally, but that was quite terrible. They did have a rookie playing, Eaton Stick, who actually, if you think about it, he had a couple turnovers, but in any other game, 21 points is going to keep you at least in contention. It just so happened that the Raiders had the offensive explosion, like 3 or 4 turnovers, 8 or 9 touchdowns. You had players scoring that hadn't even got no burn. It was crazy. It was just everything went right. It was cool to kind of see the team play and fire on all cylinders for once against lesser competition, obviously, way lesser. Quite terrible, but Coop's favorite team up until a few weeks ago when we couldn't talk about them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. The team was just rolling, man. I think it might have been a little different with Herbert, but I don't know that it was going to be. It's just one of those kind of lightning in a bottle situations. Sometimes you just get hot and stuff kind of goes your way and everything bounces your way. So it was definitely cool to see. Raider record in scoring, which was cool. So that was pretty awesome. So yeah, that's kind of all I got. We can talk about it ad nauseum for the last week, but it was cool to see.
Well, it was an avalanche. I attempted to try to watch the game starting in the second quarter, and as I saw the Raiders kept scoring touchdown after touchdown, it was 28-0 at that point. It was really no use in watching the game. I figured the Raiders were going to win it, and plus, I don't want to see any camera shots of Brandon Staley. So, it'll be
the last ones you see, my boy.
Well, you're right, exactly. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna stay off that because I'm actually going to talk about the Chargers. They're going to be my hogwash segment as a
Again?
team. So. No, as Hogwash is my
Again?
Hogwash segment. No, they
we
weren't
gotta go
Hogwash
back,
before.
bro. I'm telling you, they've been minute to win it. They've been Hogwash. He led his team, bro.
Yeah, no.
I'll tell you this. Since he's stuck a fork in him, man, he brings him up a whole lot.
No.
The fork was to go back for seconds, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I've been on it, bro. That's your AFC team, bro.
He's over here feasting.
Yeah, for real, bro. But yeah, it was great to see. Staley did get fired. That's back-to-back weeks. The Raiders defense has cost somebody their job. Dobbs lost his job on the Raider defense, and then now Staley. We'll see. I doubt anyone will lose their job this week, but we'll see what happens. So as we play
6
the Chiefs
games
upcoming. So
the over-under's coming in 6 games. It was 6.5 when the season started. You're at 6 right now. See what happens. You got 3 to go.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So it was
B,
cool.
did you watch it?
It was good to see.
I watched a very little of the Raiders game because it was 42-0 at halftime, and it was time to start packing and getting ready to get out. So
Loved it.
But they scored all the points they didn't the week before, so that was cool.
And every other week.
My biggest frustration, of course, is that I basically lost my fantasy playoffs and all. I have 5 leagues, 4 of which have playoffs. I was in the playoffs in all 4. I am now out in all 4 as a result of either Adams or Jacobs or the Raider defense in one league.
Yeah, Jacobs didn't even play. Yeah.
Sorry, not Jacobs. Adams or the Raider defense. The Raider defense being my end. At one point, they had 29 points. It got down to 25, but still, when you get 25 points from a Raider defense in a
You're gonna
fantasy
win
football,
most weeks. Yeah.
you're gonna win most weeks because you count on them for 7, not 3x that.
I do
Yes.
remember being at a certain Vikings game with someone on this panel, and the laugh he had at the end of the game. So came back to
100%.
bench.
Oh, hey, you know what? It's gonna come back to bite you because you're playing the team that I lost to. So have fun with that.
Hey, bro, I'll be honest. I was happy to be here, man. You know how I've been through a lot in these leagues.
Career.
So even being up here is
That's funny.
whatever happens. I'm just trying to get to the final to get my bread back. After that, whatever.
I think it's the most, not to diverge too much, but I think we have the most improbable semifinals in fantasy history. It's you, George, Eric, and Matt. Like,
man, we was all. Hey,
I think there's a collective zero donut of championships between the 4 of you.
Started from the bottom. Somebody gets their first one.
So somebody gonna win.
Man.
Yeah, and speaking of somebody winning, I thought it was Minnesota, and then I turned the game off.
Yeah, me
all
too.
Of a sudden, somebody told me something different.
So let me just put it this way: I actually did not think they were going to win. I told anyone who I was texting with that I thought that this is how we lose, because you cannot give away games like this, right? I mean, you can't get up, 17-3, and if you're the Vikings, you just kind of expect it because the tides turn, they get tight, and Kevin O'Connell, he just overthinks the game entirely too much. I want to like him. I want to support him. I've told everybody a million times, look, he's trying to figure out how to be a head coach. There's going to be some risk development in that, but it's a full season end, and he still makes some dumb mistakes. He goes for it when he shouldn't go for it. He calls plays that have no business being called. He's over here trying to do, quarterback sneaks with people who can't sneak. It's really, really frustrating to watch how we lose some of these games. And then I have no idea why we still have our kicker, but he's a head case. It's time to move on there and just find somebody who can consistently make short kicks because we're whiffing on those too regularly. But anyways, real quickly on that, I didn't even realize that we had cut Browning 2 or 3 times until the end of the game.
I didn't know that either.
When homeboys on the sideline yelling, they shouldn't have cut me. I was like, I didn't know we did. But congratulations to him for getting his vengeance. I don't think that he was, I thought it was a team effort and that they played really well. And T Higgins was playing out of his mind. But anyways, that was a tough loss. That was a win that I felt like we really needed. It put us on our back, our heels when it goes in the playoff conversation, which we'll talk about in a minute. But congratulations to Jake Browning, and I think we're gonna have to start. Someone's gonna have to have a conversation with Kevin O'Connell and say, look, man, I know you think that you're, McVay excellent, Sean McVay excellent, and a genius and all that, but at a certain point in time, play football. Like, when you need a yard, give it to the running back. When you especially the way Ty Chandler was playing. I mean, Ty Chandler played out of his mind. When you need completions, doesn't always need to be the third string tight end. Look, I love to see the third string tight end Munt or whoever, catching passes here and there. But when you need something, you go to tried and true. He overthinks way too much, and it costs us games.
Yeah. It looked like a game y'all had too. I was watching it. It actually ended up being a good game toward the end, but
it turned out to be an excellent football game to watch unless you were a Vikings.
Unless you're Vikings fan, yeah.
But you have some crucial interceptions though with Nick Mullins though. So I mean that doesn't help as well. But no matter what, you just got to
look at the play calls. Absolutely not. Sure. He's calling play calls to third string tight ends and wonders why they're tipping or not in the right position or whatever. If you throw these same passes to Hawkinson, even though he high pointed Hawkinson on one, or Jefferson, or we have a great skill core, and for whatever reason, we decide at some point in time that we've just got to go and do something crazy. I mean, Justin Jefferson almost threw a pick on that pass.
Yeah.
Why was he even throwing it?
Yep. I've seen it happen with my own team. I get it.
The one thing I will say is Madison lost his job. Chandler with 132 yards looked outstanding.
Yep.
Yeah, Madison should not start. Yeah.
No, he had a
Yeah,
chance.
I will agree.
but
I will agree with that.
Can't always pick it up.
It was handed to him.
Most say it's
And,
also easier to look better when people have been chasing down Dalvin Cook for 3 quarters and you get to come in a chase of a change of pace back. So, word. Anything else?
No,
Not on that.
So give us your game, Coop. Them San Francisco 49ers, man, of Santa Clara.
Oh, well, let's see. A lot of people rested, and which I expected because it's kind of easy to score on the card. Well, the 49ers had an easy time scoring on them the first game, so I expect them to score a lot of points this game. I didn't know they scored 45. I was just thinking 30 and be good, but Kyler Murray and them put up 29 themselves, and that was really a game you just want to get a win. I really wasn't worried about spread, just get a win because the biggest game of the rest of the season so far is going to be against Baltimore on Christmas night. That's going to be the game. I think we'll talk about that later. But it was another business as usual game. McCaffrey started scoring touchdowns again, and Brock played a pretty clean game, and they end up winning. There's not really much to say about this. I don't really care if they score 45. I was just happy that starters on the defensive side got rest. Because we're going to need them next week, and that nobody got, I guess, further injured against the Cardinals. But that's about it. Really, Brock is still just doing his thing. I guess he's the MVP front runner, I guess, right now. I don't know. I don't care, but he's playing well. Team's playing well. We just have to shore up those missed tackles. Though I think the 49ers had 16 missed tackles. And they can't really stop the run, but it hasn't really hurt the 49ers because they've had these big leads where teams have had to pass. And so it hasn't hurt them, but the 49ers are definitely going to have to tackle better and have a better chance of stopping the run, especially playing against Baltimore because they run a whole lot better than they pass. So we'll see what happens on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I don't know. My only gripe with Baltimore is they often make games that shouldn't be closer than they need to and lose those games. They often kind of, in my opinion, like play down to competition, but also like they kind of have a trouble catching fire sometimes when it comes back to bite them. They just come out too slow. A lot of these games they're playing like, the Rams, et cetera, who shouldn't be as challenging for a team like that that's at the top of the AFC. They struggle. So I'm curious to see how they play against y'all's defense. Games in Baltimore or Santa Clara?
No, it's in San Francisco, Santa Clara. Yeah,
gotcha.
Where the Ravens are 6-1 away, so I mean they're a good road team.
Yeah. Like Coop was saying too, when you face them, I think Coop said this earlier in the year, when you face Lamar and that team for the first time,
they always win.
It's a little different picking up. So
we'll
see. I think they need to start out fast though. If it's slow back and forth, I think y'all got a good shot.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it, but I think Lamar's 17-1 against NFC teams, so that's because a lot of them only seen him like one time, and he's something else. He's unlike any other quarterback I've ever seen in my life. So it'll be good. But as far as other games, I was going to say
let's slide to some other ones. Falcons Panthers. I know you're interested now.
Falcons Panthers. Oh, I mean, anybody watch that?
45-cent tickets.
Yeah.
50 cents.
For all the Desmond Ridder fans, he's getting benched again for Taylor Heineke. Still don't understand why people think that Desmond Ridder was an NFL quarterback. I never understood it if you watched him in college, but
who was telling you that Desmond Ridder was an NFL quarterback?
Other than
stating the fact that
he still fell down too. He went way down in the draft compared to what people were saying. So,
but I didn't think he would get drafted. If you watched him in college, I didn't think he would get. I just didn't see him as an NFL quarterback. So the fact that he started in the NFL is a huge accomplishment for him. And there were a lot of people who backed Desmond Ridder, always saying it's the coach's fault, not his, and blah 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 blah. But he's getting benched again for Taylor Heineke, I think, for the third time this season.
I don't think Heineke's that bad.
Oh, you've always backed Heineke.
You've always chuck it. You can chuck it. Look, the problem with Atlanta, even if we're going to talk about this, has nothing to do with the players and everything to do with the organization. Bijan Robinson proved in the first 3 weeks of the season that he is a stud, and he can't even get off the damn bench on this team. I love Tyler Algieri, and he's now the guy getting all the touches. They've destroyed this team. That the ownership and the coaching has destroyed this team. So I'm not trying to defend Desmond Ridder at all. That's not worth anyone's time. But this team is such a disaster on so many different levels that trying to make heads or tails of what the players are, good or bad, is a futile effort, in my opinion.
You mentioned Bijan Robinson is the reason why that the organization's bad. There was no reason to draft him in the first place. I mean, he is
No,
good. Don't get me wrong.
I
There was
agree
no
with
reason to
you.
draft him.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I have been very, very high on Tyler Algieri all last season. Dave, if you're listening, like you and I kept on talking about it. When they drafted Bijan Robinson, I said, I don't get it. But the point is that Bijan Robinson was known to be a stud, came and showed he was a stud, and can't get but 7 carries a game. It is insanity. And the whole running game is only running for 52 yards. I mean, it's sad.
Can't play the Saints and the Panthers every week.
Yeah,
what
and
about
Carolina's nothing to, when you get 152 passing yards and 52 rushing yards against the Carolina defense, what can I do for you? You know what I mean? When you lose to teams who are trying to lose, you're at an all-time low.
Yeah, GB. One of 2 games I was very confident on was Tampa Bay plus 3.5 in Green Bay.
Yeah, you said that.
I don't understand all the Jordan Love praise. I just don't get it. The guy's inconsistent, inaccurate. He should have won that game.
Year.
Yeah, he's not that bad.
It's not supposed to be consistent.
Inconsistent and inaccurate. Routine throws against Tampa Bay. He had a fumble
he hasn't
and a
made the
crucial
Hall of Fame yet, right?
He had a fumble and an interception last week against the Giants. That's excuses. I don't want to hear it.
His numbers are still better than Aaron Rodgers in his first year starting.
He had a fumble and an interception against the sorry
Giants. His numbers
Giants.
are still better than
I don't care about numbers. I don't care about stats. I do the eye test. The eye test tells me everything.
That game. You've been watching all his games.
I watched Tampa Bay against Green Bay. I sure did, and I know he had routine throws, especially for touchdowns.
One game.
He was way
doesn't work on one game. Nah.
Well, he's got me.
I watched him against the Raiders too. I watched him 4 games this year. Like I said, you can defend him all you want. I hope he's the quarterback for Green Bay next year. He's inconsistent and inaccurate. You can have him. You can defend him. You can defend him.
What about shipping Purdy out again by next year?
Wide open touchdowns, missing. I don't want to hear it. That's an excuse you're making for him.
It's
wide
not
open
an excuse. It's a stating of fact. He is literally in his first year.
This is if for a player you guys aren't that high on, that's enough conversation there. Let's slide.
He's in his 5th year in the league. Here's called practice. 5 years of practice.
We're not talking about the game.
Right.
Yeah,
Another one I'm confident on. Another one I was confident on was Buffalo minus 2.5 against Dallas. That I saw that coming easily. Dallas on these dome teams and those conditions on the road, they never win. The Detroit, the Dallases. I didn't expect Buffalo to drill them like they did. I just expected them to win. But Dallas looked completely overmatched. And it looks like they built this winning streak playing the Carolinas and the Rams and all these bad teams. They caught a break on Philly because Philly was banged up. They were banged up, and they caught them right after the San Francisco game, so they were kind of ripe to be beat for that. But if they played in the playoffs, Dallas and Philly, I would take Philly. I wouldn't trust Dallas to go to Philly and beat them again. I wouldn't. But they got beat by Buffalo. Good win for them. They're back in the playoff race, and Buffalo might be a team that you kind of don't want to play in the playoffs because they changed their offense coordinator. They got the guy Brady, the guy who was offense coordinator for Joe Burrow and chasing him at LSU. They got him calling plays now, and looks like it's working out pretty well for them. But those are 2 other games I had my eye on.
Not who you want in the wild card. I think them or Philly is not who you want in the wild card situation.
Yeah, Brian, any other games this week that you watched that you had your eye on that you were watching?
I didn't watch any games because I was on a plane. But if I watched everything Saturday and I watched a little bit on Monday because I'm on the East Coast and games are on at midnight.
You catch the Monday night game?
Yeah, I caught the Monday night game.
Okay.
Actually ended up being pretty good, man. Drew Lock was left for dead and actually kind of was out here doing a little something.
Man, when he made that pass at the end, my eyes, I was like, that was something I did not expect to happen. I expected Philly to, close the door on that game. But like I said, Drew Lock had enough sense to go after James Bradbury and prove my point that their Philly secondary and their linebackers suck. I've been saying it for 2 years. Nobody wanted to believe me. The Eagles should have 7 losses. They only have 2 or 3. They've been escaping this year. And, last 3 games, they've been losing. If any team I think needs a bye week, I think it's probably Philly. But they get the Giants a couple times the last 3 games of the season, so they'll be a bye. That'd be 2 byes, so they'll be all right.
Giants are playing a little bit. You still got to play.
Yeah.
Look, I think unlike my fantasy season, because it has a little bit of a parallel, but I think a healthy Walker is a huge, huge difference for any team, but Seattle. I mean, if you look at the games that they're losing, it's usually because Walker is either out early or banged up. He came back this week. He played well. And, we all know that a Pete Carroll-led offense with a running back, a power running back is key to them being able to win. I think that Drew Lock did his thing to win that game, obviously, but I think that the key to them being in that position was because Ken Walker played so well early on and throughout.
Yeah, he definitely helped. The MVP, Jalen Hurts, got 17 turnovers this year. So, the MVP candidacy is looking real good. 300 million. Everybody say he
Yeah,
deserved it.
Hey. 0-2. Well, he definitely deserves the money, but he was 0. He had 2 turnovers in that game, which you just can't do. And he's got, I think, more than double the amount of turnovers this year than he had for all season last year.
Yeah.
You just can't turn the ball over like that.
Still
Vikings know all about that.
Still leading the top team. Even if he's not playing that good, they're still rolling. I mean, they've lost a few now, but they won enough at the beginning to still be coasting now. So make sure you're in the playoffs. Once you get in the playoffs, it's a new season. So make sure you're there. Only other game I was kind of curious that, I mean, I guess the Broncos are figuring it out, but they got smoked. That was kind of surprising. The Lions bounced back and put 42 up on them boys. And then I think that was about it for me. I don't know if you guys have anything else. Otherwise, we can look to the week ahead.
Man, it's we're good. Go ahead. We're good.
Thursday night, I think we can gloss over unless you guys care about Saints Rams. It does have playoff implications. Someone has to win the NFC South. So I guess that, and then are the Rams still in
the Rams have the spot right now because Green Bay lost again.
Green Bay lost, and somebody else, Seattle lost. Oh no, not Seattle. Minnesota lost. So they still
actually a playoff game tomorrow then.
From a playoff perspective, this is a very important game for both of those teams. I think the Rams are going to win it.
Well, I had the Rams in Green Bay. I'm sorry, the Rams and the Vikings is my last 2 in for the NFC. Do you still got those, Brian, or you changed?
Well, I had
Green Bay and somebody
else. Vikings in Green Bay.
Vikings in Green Bay, right.
Yeah, and the reason for that is that the Rams are going to have to win the game the last week of the season against you guys, and I don't think they can do it.
They will.
Okay.
They're going to beat us because we're going to beat the Ravens and we're going to be Washington, and we don't have to win the last game of the year because Dallas and Philly lost, so they'll beat us.
We'll see. They can have it. But anyways, the Rams are going to win this game, I think. I mean, Kyron Williams, when he plays and he's healthy, is just such a great, great player. He's actually a lot of fun to watch because he does a whole lot of things. But anyways, I think the Rams win this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams strictly because it's Dennis Allen coaching against Sean McVay. I'm taking Sean McVay at home. I can't back Dennis Allen ever. I can't do it. Sorry, it's a bad coach.
All right, fair. Damn,
I think big playoff game on Saturday.
Damn near everything out this week because of how close the AFC is. I mean, the Bengals Steelers kind of matters. The Bills,
the Bengals Steelers definitely matter.
The Bills are about to mop the floor with. It's interesting that both games are at SoFi this week. Rams and the Chargers play both at SoFi this week. But
that's right.
The Bills are gonna beat up on the Chargers.
Good for them.
I think they're gonna win by more than that 12-point spread, which I never take a spread that high. That's insanity. But I just don't see what the Chargers can do with them.
You guys have a big game too against the Lions. Vikings Lions.
We have a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
Huge game. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute must win. It's at home, but
is Mullen still starting?
He's playing. They're still planning on starting him.
Okay.
Which I actually get. I mean, he was chucking. He is careless with the ball, but he throws. He throws them in all kinds of situations. The difference here is that you can get a lot of big plays, which the Vikings have a problem with, in collecting them, and they just need to play, very easy football. They just need to go out there and do what they need to do.
Yeah, Glenn, you skipped a game that I think is going to be an upset. That's Seattle at Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee that game. I don't think Seattle wins that game. I'll take Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, it's Will Levis and them. It's important because it's the bottom of the NFC, but it's.
I just think that Seattle just, first of all, I'm not even sure what's the name? Geno Smith. I'm not sure if he's even playing or not, or even matters. But Seattle just came off that big emotional victory against the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably you can say they shouldn't have won that game, but they did. Now they go on the road to play Tennessee in the early game, East Coast window. I just think it just lines up perfectly for Tennessee to win this game, and I just think they're going to win. But we'll see what happens.
There, Cowboys Dolphins is kind of a real game too. When you got
Where's that at? Where's it at?
In Miami.
Okay, because Miami is the type of team that can beat anybody at home. I wouldn't trust them on the road, but looks like I just looked at the spread now. It's 1.5. Brian, who you like? Miami minus 1.5 against Dallas.
I'm gonna go Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to go Miami because I think the Cowboys are slipping. But I actually, I think this is going to be a toss-up, and I could easily see the Cowboys winning. I mean, they're going to want to get on track. They're going to want to try and play well.
They have to.
The Dolphins have a tendency to lose these types of games. I mean, they haven't beat. Matter of fact, I just switched myself. They haven't beat a winning team almost all season. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys now instead.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're on the same side now. I'm on the Cowboys too. But there's one thing I didn't know, bro.
Out of it.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm just taking their defense against that offensive line. I don't think Miami's offensive line is that good. They keep Tua as a statue. They hit him a couple times. It's, he's always a different Tua once he gets peppered a little bit. But one stat I didn't know until today, Brian, I didn't know this. Maybe you did, Glenn. Maybe you knew this. Mostert has 20 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about McCaffrey and it's 20. Nope. Mostert has 20.
It's a Dolphins record.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Nobody's talking about it though.
You got like 5 on the Broncos.
Yeah, no, I've been talking about it. It was Part of what makes that so crazy though is Kane is legitimately a stud running back.
Yeah, he could play. Yep.
And when he got hurt, he was like in the starting gate about to blow up. And what has happened is Mostert kind of established himself. They were going with the hot hand, which they should do.
Yeah.
But it's going to be real interesting to see what they do at the running back position at the end of the season because, trying to keep both of those guys is probably difficult. And Mostert might be the odd man out for all the wrong reasons, just because he's the older, not the,
But the thing is, he was with the Niners. Not just the Niners, but other teams. He always had an injury history, and he was always, just getting bounced from team to team. And it's like, and I guess I don't want to put this on Brock Purdy, but it kind of seems like you can relate to a guy like most of the Brock Purdy. These are guys that you never thought would do anything. Probably guys been told they couldn't play. Nick Saban said, no, you could probably walk on. You can't play for me. Mostert, he's been cut by several teams, yet these guys still persevered, to be the players that they are now. You would think that, players will root for people like that, but I guess one person doesn't.
That don't get you contracts though. That's the only thing.
Yeah. But Mostert, I didn't know he had 20 touchdowns. That's amazing. That really is.
Yeah, he's been killing, bro. And he scored 2 in that game. So he beat the record. I think it was 19 and then scored one more.
It's nice to see.
Definitely. Sunday night, Patriots Broncos. Let's gloss over that. I think they're putting it there because people are going to be off that eggnog by that time.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a sneaky game at Houston. That's a sneaky good one. 9-5 versus 8-6. Houston can sneak into the playoffs.
Kind of important for both teams. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sneaky good game.
I hope CJ's back though, because that Browns defense is pretty serious. I think they're going to need him.
Man, give D'Amico Ryan the coach of the year now, man. Seriously, because he won that game with Case Keenum. He threw a pick 6. They regrouped. They ended up winning that game, man. There's been some good coaching jobs. I think Sean McVay should get consideration too because he has Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, and 45 rookies on the team or 45 first-year players or whatever. A lot of young guys.
That was their choice, bro. When they
I know.
but to win by that Super Bowl.
Yeah. But they're doing their thing. But D'Amico Ryan, man, got to be happy for him. Yeah, got to be happy for that guy.
Houston had no expectation. The Rams were still in the Super Bowl a few years ago,
right.
So you got to give.
I don't think Stroud's playing this week. It looks like he's still in concussion protocol, and it's likely to be out. So
he should be able to
give me the Browns in that game.
Yeah. Stroud might be smart not to play against that defense, though. But
there's a reason why Cleveland's a 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Texans. So.
Well, you got Joe Flacco too. He's like 38, still playing, but he's been effective. Yeah,
20 years younger than everybody on this damn call. Yeah,
GB, you got the KC. I know you always like to predict victories
in
versus KC. What you
KC.
doing this time?
I mean, it's a must-win game, so you'll see what happens. My main thing is just compete, right? You gotta play a 4 quarters. So I can't make if I had to say, I'd assume we probably. I can't go
KC
against.
minus 10.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now. I think the Raiders beat the spread and the Chiefs win.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could very well happen. I think I don't think you're going to get 63 points, but we're going to need more than 17. So if we can score, get some scoring going, and don't get stall out in the red zone, I think we'll definitely have a shot. The Chiefs have had some struggles for sure. They're not the Chiefs teams of the past where it's just like impossible to beat these guys. They're definitely probably their most vulnerable, in my opinion. They've been in some years. Again, doesn't mean good teams win games. So that's no disrespect to the organization or Chiefs, because they've clearly proven that they're the class of this division and also the league for years. So you can't ever count them out. But I think if they were ever ripe to be beat, now's the time. Ain't gonna be easy, but got to stay on the gas pedal. So I don't know if we win, it's gonna be barely. But I'd love to see a win there, because that keeps us alive and also keeps AP's chances of keeping that job alive. Got to compete. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Kansas City has Vegas's number. I picked them to win by 13 when they played in Vegas. They won by 13. Now there's only a 10-point spread, and KC is at home. Vegas is coming off that 63-point outburst. I still don't think this game is close, and they still win again by 13, 14 points, Kansas City. But we'll see. We'll see if they cover or not.
They can definitely be beat. So we'll see. Just keep throwing that ball to Kadarius Toney. That's all I ask. And then we'll get a couple picks, and that'll help.
We're not gonna talk about Philly and the Giants. That's a bye week.
Couldn't catch a cold.
Yeah, I'm cool off that. And then so Niners Ravens, man.
So I need before I go, I need Brian to. So Brian, I haven't looked at the spread yet, but if I had to guess, it would be Niners -7. What's the point spread?
-5.5.
5.5. Okay, so this is just my personal thought. I don't think this game is going to be close. I think the 49ers win by double digits. The 49ers are be supreme. Well, both teams will be supremely motivated. Baltimore wants to try to keep that number 1 seed in the AFC. San Francisco wants to do the same thing, especially with Philadelphia and the Dallas Cowboys losing last week. Now they only have to win the next two out of 3 games instead of winning all 3. The Commanders the following week should be an easy win, because they're trying to lose regardless, or they're going to lose regardless. I mean, whether they try or not. But so this is the game right here. So the 49ers are at home. 49ers on prime time games at home, seems like they always beat these kind of teams. Doesn't matter if it's Pittsburgh, Green Bay, whoever. These primetime games, the 49ers are always ready. They win these games. I think Baltimore, in my opinion, I've said it all season, I think their offense, this whole offensive explosion they're supposed to have, or what they have or whatever, is a little overrated in my opinion. I want the 49ers to play Lamar Jackson the same way they played Jalen Hurts. Is not try to go for sacks, not try to rush him too fast, but keep him contained in the pocket and let Lamar beat us from the pocket, the same thing they did with Jalen Hurts. Let them prove that they're passers, that everybody claims that they are, the great passers, or improve. Let them show it. I can take it. If Lamar picks apart our defense, I'll take that loss and be like, tip my hat to him. Great game. But I do not want Lamar running. And we need to tackle better, because Lamar is slippery. They have a really good running game. And if we can tackle in the run game and keep Lamar in the pocket, I don't think this game is close. The 49ers win by at least 10 or more. What do you think this game's going down, Brian?
Yeah, not that way. I also think that the 384 points that they're putting up is worth noting. I mean, that is a very good offensive output in comparison to others. But anyways, it's supposed to rain. So I do think this is going to be a battle of running backs and running games, more so than it would otherwise be. I'll take the Ravens to beat the 5.5-point spread. I don't know if they're going to win, but I do think this game's a lot closer. I also think that the over-under at 46.5 seems a little bit high. But so I don't know where they actually end up. But if I were making picks, which no one should go with, it would be the Ravens plus the 5.5 points and under 46.5.
It better not rain. If it rains, Baltimore definitely has a great chance to win. But now Baltimore, I would give Baltimore a really good shot to win if they were at home. Baltimore can beat anybody at home, but I think this is a bad timing right now for Baltimore to play the 49ers in Santa Clara, but we'll see.
The forecast for that game in Santa Clara is rain, heavy at times, watch for flooding on the streets and poor drainage areas.
Oh, damn.
I'm looking at Weather Channel. They got none.
That's for Levi. That's Levi Stadium's actual weather forecasts on AccuWeather
Oh,
for.
Let's say they got
Monday.
different meteorologists. Weather.com got none, so we'll see
yeah.
what the storm's
I
doing.
don't have rain on mine.
I don't trust weather. I always go with AccuWeather. But anyways, if you go to the ESPN and all that kind of stuff, they have
It says rain.
the game weather forecast right there next to it.
Monday, 3%. Yeah. All right. Interesting. So we're gonna see what happens.
We'll see.
But if it's raining like they're saying it's going to rain, this game obviously comes out of the air. I think the under obviously is
is in
better,
play. Yeah.
is in play, and I think that the closer game on the ground gives the Ravens a chance to at least beat the spread.
It gives them a good chance, especially the way we've been tackling. 16 missed tackles for the 49ers last week. But
Niners do have a short passing game that can equate to a little bit of running too. Like it's not like all these passes need to be deep. You can get it to skill players in short.
When it's raining, 49ers ain't the best team. When it's raining, I'll tell you that right now. It doesn't matter. We'll lose to anybody. We lost to Justin Fields in the rain. It does not matter.
Yeah, but
all that rain. It is pouring at my house right now. So
here.
So
it's been
all that stuff must be going north
all day here too. So a couple days. So cool. All right. Well, that's kind of the football layout for now. So we'll see what happens this weekend and Monday as teams play. Couple of last things we kind of were mentioning, the PNC Championship. Where do they play that? I know, but I don't know.
The Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Florida. So
yeah, it's a cool tournament with all the
awesome
champions and their families. So you got like Annika Sorenstam and her son, and Tiger and his son with his daughter caddying, and John Daly and his son. You just get a bunch of star golfers and their kids, which is cool.
It's weird how they pick which tees people are going to play from. The reason I mentioned that is that Charlie got moved back a tee this year and was hitting from the same tees that John Daly was hitting from, and some other previous pros, senior tour type guys. He wasn't back in the pro players with
Tiger tees,
Tiger tees, Justin Thomas, and those guys. But still, the kid is hitting from way back there and still driving greens and
filthy,
yeah. Anyways, not to get too caught up on that, but I love watching any professional sports players play in alternate formats. I love watching, when they do match play. I love watching when they do scrambles, like they've done recently in some of the other events. I love watching mixed ball, all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of fun to see them play some of the same stuff that we like to play, and kind of match their skills with people. And so this is a fun event to watch, especially just because it's a lot of family type oriented stuff, and it's interesting to me.
Yeah, definitely. It was cool to see Tiger with his daughter caddying and his son playing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just cool to see Tiger Woods play golf, even if he's not the top dude. It's just just for the reminisce and the nostalgia of it. But dude is it's still good to see Tiger playing, and Justin Thomas, like you said, and a lot of the Nelly out there, Cord out there, and everyone else. So it was cool to see.
Yeah.
So from that, then you had a couple of NHL thoughts.
Oh, the only thing I wanted to do is just take my hat off. I've been forgetting each week to take my hat off to just how amazing this new Kings team is. It's a bunch of young dudes who are playing out of their mind. Their record on the road is phenomenal. The only reason, in my opinion, and I'm not super educated on this, but they only have 28 games played, and everybody else has 30 plus. So the only reason they're not in the top in points is because they've had less opportunities. But they're 13-1 on the road at this point. That is insane for a young team. At any point in time, really, it's insane. But 13-1 on the road is pretty outrageous. And so, I went to the one Kings game that I told you guys about, and I've been watching them a little bit more often than I usually do during the first part of the season. They're a lot of fun to watch. They score goals, they play hard, and they find ways to win games, which is a lot of fun.
Definitely, yeah. I was just seeing they smoked the Sharks yesterday, who probably ain't won many games since me and Coop was there. The Flyers are doing all right, though. Flyers are second in their division. I'm just looking at that now. So
yeah, they want to win when I don't watch them, but yeah.
31-8, 18-10. So not too bad. Word.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, yeah, that's kind of our show. We got a couple of last segments. Hogwash. I don't really there's nothing I can really think of off the top of my head that ties up. I'm sure there's something, but I got to pass for this week. What about y'all?
Yeah, mine is on the I told you, I teased earlier, the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, San Diego Chargers. They don't have fans in LA. The San Diego Chargers. The reason why
They've
they're my
got fans in
hogwash
San
segment,
Diego.
and the
Yeah.
reason why they're my hogwash segment is because the Chargers, they just have an institutional problem. You can't be as wealthy as the Spanos family that owns the Chargers and constantly keep going cheap on coaches. That, to me, that's a disease when wealthy people are just extremely cheap. Um, they're going cheap. They'll pay their players. They've had a lot of talent. They pay Justin Herbert. They'll play players, but they constantly go cheap on the second most important position on the football team behind quarterback as head coach. They keep hiring these guys who will never. They keep hiring coordinators who will never be head coaches again for any other franchise. Brandon Staley, Anthony Lynn, Mike McCoy. They keep going cheap. They need to get a real head coach. And if I'm the Chargers, I don't know if anybody from the Chargers actually listens to this podcast, but if I'm the Chargers, I'm going after Mike Tomlin. Not Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick should be going. I'm going after Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's time in Pittsburgh should be over, and it's just not working. And he doesn't have a quarterback there. I would definitely put a full out press from Mike Tomlin for the Chargers that he'd be a great fit, but you got to pay him some money to get him over there. But you will definitely reap the benefits with a guy like Tomlin on your team. Or, I know people are talking about Harbaugh, but I would go after Tomlin and go from there because But Tomlin, you can keep your offense, but he can probably get those guys on defense to actually, play defense. So that's just my hogwash take on the Chargers just as a franchise.
Silly idea, man. Find the next up and coming coordinator. Break the mold, man. Don't go after these old coaches.
Man.
Somebody new that no one's heard of.
Man, Scott Tomlin. What you got, B?
Man, for me, the hogwash is about this, and this is not an attack on Purdy. It's an attack on the MVP conversation. That Purdy is such a prevalent part of the MVP conversation when it's so clear that Purdy, most of his teammates, are all saying that it should be McCaffrey and or Tyreek Hill. And that's not even really a consideration. It's like, oh yeah, those guys should also be in the conversation. It's sort of like the Heisman vote, when they put Harrison Jr. over there, who had a snowball's chance in heck of actually winning the Heisman, right? It's the same thing when you put Tyreek Hill and McCaffrey in the conversation. But both of these guys, and this is not to knock a guy like Mostert or anybody else, but if there's ever been a season where it should be a skill player to be MVP with what these players are doing this year, McCaffrey being key to the top team and probably NFL right now, Mostert being a key to a really great team, but Tyreek Hill possibly going over 2,000 yards. I feel like he might do it, but these are things that are MVP worthy. And instead, the MVP voters and people just in general can't get their head out of the it has to be a quarterback. And so in the absence of having a great quarterback, we'll pick Purdy and put him on the throne. That's all hogwash.
Yeah. Last minute to win it. Just thank you all for listening. Man, yeah, we appreciate everybody for checking us out. Happy holidays if you celebrate. If you don't, just hope you have a good time and stay blessed and healthy with your families. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have a minute, but I got the same thing as Glenn. I'll go harder next episode. But yeah, I'll pass to B.
The only thing I was going to say is that while for most of us, this is always, I always do talk about politics and stuff like that. For most of us, we got really excited yesterday, real quickly, about the fact that that president guy got taken off the ballot in Colorado, and almost immediately I was telling people that be careful here, because what he's going to get is he's going to be able to campaign on how they're trying to keep him out and all this other stuff. And the reality of it is that Colorado was a one state. They were going to be blue pretty much from the get-go. Same would be if they took them off the ballot in California and all these other places. There's some other states that have talked about possibly doing the same thing. Those are purple states. Some of those are purple states. If one of those do it, then it's time to get real happy. But until then, this is good news going in the right direction, but not a win.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Appreciate y'all for listening. It's December 20th, 2023. I usually said at the beginning of the show, and I didn't. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Thanks for listening.